The 1990s, new technology, new war enemies, and a lot of good music. A time when mistrust in the government led to a pop culture revolution. But what was it like to live during this time? We can't smell, feel, or taste the past, but we can hear and see it. Our mural covers what the 90s looked like. But what did they sound like? The notorious B.I.G., one of the biggest rappers of all time. Even today, in 2018, he still gets astonishing numbers on streaming platforms like Spotify, where he has about 11 million monthly listeners. Biggie, how he was often called, was an East Coast rapper that lived in New York until March 9th, 1997, when he was shot in LA. LA is also the place where our next rapper, Tupac, had most of his career. He was a West Coast rapper, born and raised in Baltimore until he turned 17 when his family moved to the Bay Area, where he got into contact with the Black Panther movement, which heavily inspired his music. Here is a little snippet from one of his biggest songs, California Love, featuring Dr. Dre.
Out on bail, fresh out of jail, California dreaming. Soon as I step on the scene, I'm hearing hoochie screaming, fiending for money and alcohol, the life of a West Side player with cowards out and a strong ball. Sadly, he lost his life in a drive-by shooting on September 13th, 1996, when he was just 25 years old. Not just solo artists were popular in the 1990s.
On the crime side, the New York Times side, staying alive was no job, had second hand.
The Wu-Tang Clan, including 9 of the best rappers of all time, with their debut album Enter the Wu-Tang, or 36 Chambers, they changed the rap game forever. Not just hip-hop defined the 90s. Seattle, the setting of the room, is the birthplace of grunge. But what is grunge? Grunge is a musical style with deep roots in punk rock and metal, popularized by bands from the American Northwest. The widely popular Nirvana, with their hit album Nevermind, is considered the bomb that broke down the wall of the 80s era music and brought in the grunge era.
Come as you are, as you were, as I want you to be.
The style of thrifty ripped jeans and tattered flannels soon became the look of America's youth, and many record studios began the search for the next Nirvana, allowing for many other bands to gain popularity. Grunge music and style swept over the nation for years and influenced many popular rock bands of modern times. Grunge struck a harsh chord with a mistrustful America, especially considering the start of the First Gulf War. But why was this war such a big deal for America?
There are particular worldly events that most people probably wouldn't think about when they think of the 1990s, but they are influential and part of a vast conflict that is still happening today. The Gulf War, which started in the very beginning of the decade, started after Saddam Hussein of Iraq invaded the small, oil-rich country of Kuwait in search of riches.
Just 2 hours ago, Allied air forces began an attack on military targets in Iraq and Kuwait. This conflict started August 2nd, when the dictator of Iraq invaded a small and helpless neighbor. Kuwait, a member of the Arab League and a member of the United Nations, was crushed. Its people brutalized. Kuwait is liberated. Iraq's army is defeated. Our military objectives are met. Kuwait is once more in the hands of Kuwaitis in control of their own destiny.
As well as the changing world landscape, there is also an ever-changing artistic style. Now, what does this look like, and how did we incorporate it in our mural? For the background of our mural, we chose a teenager's bedroom to represent the pop culture developing from the younger generation. There are a lot of lines throughout this mural, and this is to represent the depth and immensity of our decade in our piece. For the colors, we used a bright, primary, and vibrant palette to represent the outgoing personality of the decade. Thank you for taking a step back into the 90s. I hope you enjoyed listening.